My free hit is active and this is my final team selection before tomorrow's deadline. I've made some pretty huge and unexpected changes to my team, so let's get into this. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to today's team selection video. The free hit chip is active and I've made some pretty big and unexpected changes to my side. Of course, if you're brand new around here, click the subscribe button. I make FPL videos to help you guys at home by just clicking the little red subscribe button. It does massively support the channel. This is a bit of a later team selection upload than a normal game week, but I really wanted to get my team as nailed as possible for you guys at home. If you do appreciate that, go click the like button. The like goal is 10 likes on today's video. Just before we get into the basis of the defense here, I know the free hit chip and the triple captain chip is very, very popular this game week. I'd absolutely love to know what you're doing with your sides this game week. Drop that in the comments, but let's get stuck in to my side now. Now you'll notice straight away Virgil van Dijk is gone. I've actually converted to a 4-4-2 formation for game week 13 free hit. We've gone initially with a triple setup on Aston Villa defence with Konsa sat on the bench. So that will mean there is no Aston Villa attackers in my side. Very shocking, I know, but we will get to why that is when we get further up the team selection. But starting off in goal, Martinez. Now, Wolves at home is a brilliant opportunity for Aston Villa to get a clean sheet this week. And of course, Martinez does make the good amount of saves in a standard Premier League match. So hopefully, clean sheet, save points, Martinez could get a really big haul this game week. Matty Cash attacking as ever for Aston Villa. Really, really banking on that clean sheet with him. Of course, the Aston Villa defence as a whole, defensive contributions aren't really high for any of them, so we went for the attacking asset in Matty Cash here. Collins and Sepp van den Berg both have pretty decent defensive contributions, not as good as some others in the Premier League, but we've went for the double Brentford defence in this side. Now Virgil van Dijk has left my FPL team. I am still, debating going Virgil van Dijk, but at the end of the day, what Liverpool showed us in the Champions League midweek was absolutely horrendous. So double Burnley defence for me this game week. And instead of Nico Riley as my Man City defender, I've actually went with Gvardiol. Now, the reason behind this is because I'm just not 100% set on O'Reilly's minutes in the Premier League. Yes, I understand recently in the Premier League, 90 minutes has looked fantastic, but there's just something telling me about this Leeds at home fixture. His minutes maybe ever so slightly altered. So I'm going for the more, solid minutes pick of Gvardiol here. And, anything can happen with a Pep team, and I just want as much security that I know that my player is going to play in game week 13, especially on a free hit. But it very well could be the case that Nico O'Reilly joins the side by the FPL deadline tomorrow. But overall, this is how the defence is looking. Double Aston Villa defence, double Brentford defence, and just one City defender. A very different style of midfield to what you may have seen in other FPL free hit drafts, and I'm going to explain all of my picks here. We've gone with Mo Salah still in my free hit draft. There's a lot of money spare. I do think the West Ham fixture is good, and overall, Mo Salah's data in the past few weeks actually hasn't been that bad. He just hasn't really been putting away his chances. Liverpool's form has been terrible. Do I really think it's going to kickstart against West Ham away from home? Not particularly, but do I think Mo Salah could definitely get a return against West Ham? I do think that. So with the spare money that I have, I thought, why not just play Mo Salah? He's on penalties. There is a consideration to go Cody Gakpo instead and perhaps upgrade some other assets in the team, but overall, I don't think the money goes that far, and I would rather have the penalty taker for Liverpool than Cody Gakpo. Famous last words maybe there, but I do think Mo Salah isn't a bad choice here. I think I've got him second in terms of expected points this game week, so I do think I'll have him by the game week 13 deadline, but there is some consideration to go Cody Gakpo there. Bruno Fernandes, now against the 10-man Everton, he just was the chance creator. There was so many opportunities for him. The crosses into the box for Xerxes. If it wasn't for Pickford being one of the best keepers in the league, Bruno Fernandes would have had an absolute mega haul against Everton. And in the past few weeks, we've really seen Bruno Fernandes slowly become a much more consistent FPL asset. And against Palace away, you may think, look, it's a pretty difficult fixture going away to Palace. Maybe Bruno's not in consideration here, but the amount of routes to points that Bruno Fernandes has, I would quite like him in a free hit team. Yes, he's in my original FPL team, but I do think he is quite a strong option, even against Palace away, with just how many routes to points he has in FPL. We've gone Elliot Anderson as well as a slightly cheaper asset here to afford the likes of Salah, Bruno, Foden, Gvardiol, and you'll see the striking partnership in just a second. But I do think he's a really solid option. Forest have looked a lot better under Sean Dyche, and of course a home fixture against Brighton isn't too bad for them this game week. And of course, again, it's similar to Bruno. Lots of different routes to points. Defensive contribution points incredibly strong for Elliot Anderson. I think he's a pretty solid pick at his price point. Phil Foden, Leeds at home. Of course, it's another one of those picks where I could go Cherki, I could go Doku, but Foden's minutes have been the best. It's a very similar pick to Gvardiol here. I do think Foden, out of all the mids, would probably be my strongest. When it comes to Gvardiol versus O'Reilly, I do think O'Reilly is very strong, but, you know, minutes aren't exactly... I don't know, I'm just a bit torn on O'Reilly's minutes at the moment. If we do find out in the press conference, which is literally starting right now for Manchester City, that O'Reilly, you know, his minutes are going to be pretty strong, Gvardiol will probably leave, and it would probably be a slightly different setup there in the defence. But I still think Phil Foden's minutes are very good. But yeah, Cherki, Doku also considerations in that midfield spot. We've gone Enzo Lefebvre on the bench, just a cheap asset who probably will start for Sunderland against Bournemouth. But overall, that's the midfield. Let's move up to the final two players in the team. These two forwards, I do believe, are the best two to own in Game Week 13, Thiago and Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland as my captain, of course. A very strong triple captain option for Game Week 13 against Leeds at home. I do think if you're not playing the free hit chip, you absolutely could activate your triple captain this game week on Erling Haaland. Thiago, I've only went with the one Brentford attacker. As I discussed, I do think the clean sheet potential for Brentford is incredibly strong this game week, and I don't think Burnley are exactly pushovers in the Premier League. Yes, I've been performing, you know, not as great to the start of the Premier League, but at the end of the day, I think there's maybe more upside in owning two Brentford defenders rather than owning two Brentford attackers. I think most of what Brentford do going forward does actually end up with just Thiago scoring a goal. So on penalties, Thiago, Burnley at home, I think we're just going to go with the one Brentford attacker this game week. Now, speaking about the team overall this week, again, we've spoke about a few changes, a few swaps I could make. Of course, right now, there is press conferences going on, and there will continue to go on till late this afternoon. So there could be something within those that sort of pushes me in a sort of different direction with this side. But I do think setting up double Aston Villa defence, double Brentford defence, and one City defender is likely for me this game week. Across the midfield, I think that's where most of the changes could come, and it's likely to be between Salah, Elliot Anderson and Fernandes. Could those turn into some different assets like Gakpo? Maybe we go triple City attack instead, because they're expected to score a lot of goals against Leeds this game week. A lot of changes could happen to the side, but right now this is exactly how I would line up for game week 13, and of course the deadline is tomorrow. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of my side, and please let me know what you're doing this game week with your team. Are you activating a chip? Are you using your transfers? What are your transfer plans? Let me know in the comments. There are two live streams you need to be aware of. Tonight's live stream is my team rating live stream starting around 8:30 p.m. and tomorrow, of course, is my normal deadline stream starting at around 11:30 a.m. just before the Game Week 13 deadline. So make sure you're looking out for both of those streams, and of course, a massive thank you for your support on today's video. If you did enjoy the video, go ahead and click the like button. If you're not yet subscribed, click the subscribe button for future FPL content and FPL streams. But that is everything for today's video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.